and Development Studies and the School of Behavioral Sciences at this university. Some of you would remember that we had a very remarkable international conference recently in early October on the theme Sustainable Future, Scientists and Sages Meet. That was also in association with the School of Environmental Sciences. The proceedings of that conference would be published soon, I hope. We are now distributing the text of the lecture of Dr. George John. I think you have all received it. If others need it, we have enough copies here. Well, I'm not going to speak a lot about Dr. Paulos Gregorios this time because the little text which you received has a short profile of Mark Gregorios, but this occasion is particularly important to memorize him because he received in 1992 the prestigious International Award of the American Psychiatric Society, the Oscar Pfister Award. That is something strange because they don't usually give it to religious leaders. But of course, he was not a professional psychologist or psychotherapist or psychiatrist, but his insights and vision, not only in psychiatry and psychology, but in several other fields, were very much recognized by the community of scholars and thinkers all over the world. So that award was a result of that recognition. We have already a few years ago, we have printed the text of his lecture at the American Psychiatric Association Annual Conference. I just read the title, How Do We Psychoanalyze Our Societies and Religions? Some new tasks for all of us. The profound insights which he gives in this book are very interesting. I will have enough copies for everybody, but researchers and scholars from the School of Behavioral Sciences might be more interested in that, I suppose. Now my task is to welcome all of you. The Vice Chancellor had agreed to come, but unfortunately because of his various responsibilities he had to be away, and he also deputed the Registrar, Dr. Bismi Gopalakrishnan. She is with us. She was also with us at the international conference, and her contribution and support for the chair are very, very important. Dr. Bismi Gopalakrishnan, I will welcome you most heartily to this meeting. And we have the chair, Dr. Naushad PP. Of course, I don't need to welcome him. He is also one of the host committee here. Dr. Naushad displayed his special organizing skill and his deep commitment at the time of the international conference, and we all appreciated that. Dr. Naushad, we welcome you most heartily. And we have Dr. George John. The special thing I want to speak about him is that he was a close friend and associate of Dr. Paulos Gregorios. And he was, in my experience, he was one of the few lay persons who would challenge on the face of Mark Gregorios. Other people were usually, a bit afraid of him. Dr. George John, also you have met Dr. Chirian Ippen, another lay person who helped us a lot in organizing the international conference. He also was a close associate and a critic of Mark Gregorios while remaining a very close friend. Now, Dr. George John, FRCP Psychiatry UK, is a retired British consultant psychiatrist and a distinguished author now based in India. I hope he will tell us about it. Having trained and served in the United Kingdom for several decades, he later devoted himself entirely to scholarship, reflective writing, and public intellectual engagement. His essays appear regularly in major Indian national newspapers like The Hindu, Indian Express, and Frontline magazine and some other publications, where he explores the intersections of philosophy, psychology, spirituality, human flourishing, and deeper questions of meaning. And so today we are honored to welcome him to Mahatma Gandhi University to deliver this annual memorial lecture. And I wish to recognize the presence of some of the distinguished associates of the chair and also eminent people you are noted. We have Professor P.C. Varghese from CMS College. I understand that our former Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sabu Thomas, was a student of Professor Varghese. We have the Principal of the Medical College, Kottayam, and also a reputed psychiatrist, Dr. Varghese Punus here. We have a cultural figure, Dr. Paul Manalil here. We have Dr. Matthew Kurian from KN Raj Center here. We have Satish and Vimala, relatives of Dr. George John. And we have, of course, the professors from the two faculties here. I don't need to mention. We have, of course, Sri Babu John, who is also a member of the executive committee of the chair. He is very enthusiastic in promoting this chair while he was working at the university and even before. And he was also committed to the topics we take up, the themes we take up for discussion. Babu, we are very grateful to you. And we have Father Thomas Chavadil. He is also very much associated with us, and his advice is very much appreciated whenever it comes to choosing themes and inviting people. Of course, the professors and the research students from both faculties, I welcome all of you most heartily. Thank you.
Most respected Registrar of the University, Professor Vismi Gopalakrishnan, Dr. George John, Father Dr. K.M. George, and distinguished delegates, guests, faculty members, scholars and students. As Professor Dr. K.M. George already mentioned, the topic of today's lecture is dreams, serendipity and creativity. Before going to the topic, as we all know, this lecture is part of the annual Paulos Gregorios Memorial Lecture, which is organized in every November, and today is November 11th, is a special day because this is National Education Day also. National Education Day is the birthday of the first Minister of Education, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. So this is actually a coincidence. And this chair is actually one among the active chairs. We have around more than 20 chairs in the university, but this Paulos Gregorios chair, they conduct at least one lecture every month. So I'm proud to say that this chair is functioning in the department. That is why we are beneficiaries. Our students and scholars are actually the beneficiaries of this chair, and I express our thanks to Father Dr. K.M. George for organizing well the chair. And regarding the topic, actually, the dreams, serendipity, and creativity, these are something beyond the scope of our expertise. Because in our department, our focus is on Gandhian studies, development studies, and all. Still, we have some. My background is education. As a student of pedagogy, I learned little psychology, nothing more than that. And our students are also from different background. And actually, the students and scholars from behavioral science will be much beneficiaries of this talk, I think. Dream, of course, it's in Malayalam it is Sopnam or imagination. This is part of all artistic and creative work. If you go through Malayalam film songs, you can see, we were actually discussing large number of songs with Sopnam as the theme. And another thing is, of course, creativity, which is the dreams and creativities are closely connected things. Creativity is simply a person's novel way of doing things. So human beings created knowledge, different types of knowledge, and the growth of human beings actually rests on the creativity of the species. So I don't know how this. I think Dr. George John will explain much on the concept serendipity. I searched the meaning of the term serendipity, which is Agasmigada, maybe Agasmiga Bhagyam. Yeah, maybe like that. I don't know how these three terms are connected, joined together. That will be, I think, the topic of your presentation. I don't want to elaborate it. On behalf of the School of Gandhian Thought and Development Studies and also Paulos Gregorios Chair and School of Behavioral Science, once again I welcome you all, and I invite Professor Bismi Gopalakrishnan to deliver a special address in this occasion. Please, madam.
A special address in this occasion would be really challenging because actually I'm here in place of for Professor Dr. Aravinda Kumar sir, the Vice Chancellor of MG University, in his absence. He had an official function, and that's why he asked me to join this particular function and convey his regards to the esteemed delegates and also to Dr. George Johnson. Now, most respected Father Dr. K.M. George, Professor Dr. Naushad PP, Professor and Director, SVTDS, Advocate Reggie Secretary sir in his absence here, and Dr. George Johnson and Dr. Swati Moon, and all the delegates and the faculty of Gandhian Thought and Behavioral Science, the research scholars and students over here. Now, when this particular came to my mind, I was just looking at the brochure and dreams, serendipity and creativity. I didn't have any clue what exactly is this. And definitely, yes, as Professor Naushad sir has mentioned, dreams are very close to us. Actually, we live on dreams. But how dreams feed on serendipity and how both feed on creativity, that was quite a sort of, I couldn't understand the connection, because as any lay person, dreams are always a very powerful inspiration for me to move on. And definitely we do have unexpected events coming into our life. And look how we consolidate this into meaningful creativity. That was the it was actually very difficult for me to understand the strains, and then I went through the write-up that was shared by Father Dr. K.M. George, and actually it was very interesting. The first paragraph, I was just reading it, and then I was just trying to connect it with my faculty, and rather than that, I was just trying to connect it with the everyday life. And there, examples of, for example, the periodic table. It came to my mind, where I think when the entire dream process, it was through the dream process the entire periodic table got its final shape. And again, I also try to recollect, or I understood that the most very famous song that is written by Beatles, Yesterday, that was also a result of this particular connectivity. So I was just trying to think, because when you have a new theme into your mind, definitely we try to think and we try to understand and we try to read, because that is exactly what we have to do. And we have, as researchers, as scholars, we have to really accommodate this particular idea into our mind, because catching something new, understanding it, and trying to understand the knowledge and trying to disseminate the knowledge. So eagerly waiting. So when I met Dr. John sir, he was actually very anxious, very eagerly waiting to meet all of us and share the knowledge with us. So I'm also just very eagerly waiting for your speech. Looking forward, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Dr. Reggie Secretary will join us soon. And we start our lecture. I invite Dr. George John to deliver his address.
Gandhi,
I'll give you that.
Then I go. For short people like me. I'm enormously grateful for this invitation to deliver the Paulos Gregorios lecture and the warmth and the extravagance of the introduction. My name is George John. Thank you. I'm like all of you, I'm a Malayali, but I speak like this because I spent the majority of my adult life in London. And I'm not an ambitious man, and as a young man, all I wanted to do in life was to find out how the human mind works. And in the 1970s, the best place I thought to learn it was in London. Father George had mentioned my association with the late Bishop Paulos Gregorios. Actually, I traveled with him from London to New York when he got the Oscar Fitzer Award by the American Psychiatric Association, of which I was a corresponding member at the time. And it was a very, they give The Royal College of Psychiatrists of Britain doesn't reward or recognize, I don't know whether the Indian Psychiatric Association recognizes and rewards religious people, but the Americans do. Oscar Fitzer Award. Oscar Fitzer was one of Freud's sidekicks, and he talked of priest as Freud actually talked of Oscar Fitzer as an acceptable priest. Anyway, this is all by the by. I understand you all have a booklet of my lecture, and today I want to show you three seemingly delicate phenomena: dreams, serendipity, and creativity. In Malayalam, Swapnangal, Bhagyodayam, Kriyatma Katha. From a sturdy brain that runs through science and art, through memory and imagination, and through ethics and community. Think of this lecture as a guided walk from the night's theatre of dreams through the chance encounters of the day and to the workshop of creative making. Let me give you another slide. There you go. That's an abstract of what I want to tell you about. My thesis is simple. Dreams reorganize memory and meaning. Serendipity is where the world finds us. Because why? Why is it? Because we are prepared to notice it. Because if we weren't prepared to notice it, the outcome would be different. And creativity is the disciplined refinement that turns glimpses into gifts. So the art today, what dreams do? What do they do? How serendipity works and how creativity happens in the brain and in practice. At its best, creativity serves truth and common good. Let me show you another slide. This is tried in context. Louis Pasteur's dictum was, chance favors the prepared mind. I suggest this should be our compass. Dreams widen the search space by recombining experience. Serendipity is the moment a pattern clicks because attention is tuned. Creativity integrates both into something useful, beautiful, or true. These are not separate islands, but tidal flows of one ocean, of one sea. Let me show you another slide. Why now? Why study this now? Because the science of sleep has entered a renaissance. Because our attention is pressured by devices that tax the very networks we need for insight. And because creativity has been democratized. No longer the preserve of the genius, but a practice open to all with tools, time, and intention. Understanding the triad is not indulgence. It is a civic skill. Let me show you another slide. There you are. What dreams do? Sleep is not a pause. It is an active cognitive process. Most of you will know that sleep consists of REM sleep and non-REM sleep, rapid eye movement and non-rapid eye. Beneath the closed eyelids, your eyeballs will move swiftly from side to side, and it happens in roughly about 90-minute cycles. And the dreaming happens when this activity goes on. So, during the REM, the brain regulates the affect. It integrates memory and it runs simulations in imagery. If you read dream reports read like hypotheses. They are rough drafts of possibilities where the self rehearses, recombines, and tests without cost or consequence. The strangeness is not noise, it is a feature. There you go. Dreaming and recombination. In dreams, distant associations become near neighbors. The unlikely adjacency, like the snake and the circle, the melody and the memory, these things can get unstuck. Rigid patterns that are formed in waking life. So the rigid patterns become loosened associations. Recombination expands the solution space by relaxing the rules. And the next day, you can bring the rules back and reevaluate the results. Here is another slide. Should I point there? Ah, there you go. Thank you. Sorry. It's my lack of experience. It's not technology. Hypnagogia. This is a liminal corridor. Most of you know that from wakefulness to sleep, there are 4 stages of deepening sleep. And between wakefulness and sleep lies this drowsy vestibule where novel images and phrases will flicker. Thomas Edison and Salvador Dali tried to catch this borderland of micro-dreaming because it yields unforced, low-friction associations. A practical note for later. Short, intentional drift periods can be renewable sources of raw material for your dreaming. Sorry, I'm not doing something right, I'm doing something wrong. you very much. Did you mind? Thank you. Emotions and insight. Insight is not only cognition, it is affective. You know, the I've had a few of those. The most recent ones I can remember is when I visited the Vatican Museum. I've visited it more than twice. And you look at a whole wall of Raphael's murals or the amazing painting, an object of beauty, and you go, when you see something, that is often a release of tension as a pattern resolves into coherence. Dreams help recalibrate your emotions around the problems, taking the sting out of the stuckness so a solution can appear less threatening and more thinkable. Feeling and knowing, they go together, they travel together. Can I have the next one, please? So what is serendipity? Serendipity is not simple luck. It is a skill at the hinge of attention and interpretation. It has three parts. One, a preparedness, a prepared background, which are questions, curiosity, and sparse but rich mental hooks. Two, it has a trigger, which are anomalies, misfits, near misses. And third, a narrative that makes the oddity meaningful and actionable. Let's look at the origin to anchor the idea. The word serendipity came from the Englishman Horace Walpole. He was an English historian and a writer. Way back in 1754, when he wrote a letter in which he mentioned the three princes of Serendip. Serendip, of course, was the old Persian name for India's near neighbor, Sri Lanka. It was called in Persian Serendip. This is the etymology of the word serendipity. So these three princes that Horace Walpole wrote about in 1754, they kept finding things by accident and sagacity. The second word, accident plus sagacity, it matters. Serendipity isn't passive luck, I said. It is skilled noticing joined with a readiness to interpret what appears. You need both of these. Can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Let's look at a few historical anecdotes. Many discoveries are stories of noticing. Alexander Fleming's A Moldy Petri Dish, a miswired instrument, a failed attempt that turned out to be the real path. The point is, it is not romantic myth-making. It is to learn the mechanics. What conditions, minds, and culture cultures make noticing more likely. There is also a sociologist's view, so the School of Behavioral Studies maybe know more about it. Robert K. Merton, he described serendipity pattern as unanticipated, anomalous, and strategic. It has three components. Something you didn't set out to find, which doesn't fit your expectations, and thirdly yet becomes useful once you reframe the question. That's when it becomes useful. That three-step lens turns happy accidents into a method you can practice. Thank you. So what's the ecology of serendipity? Serendipity loves edges and crossings between disciplines, between people, and between contexts. Diverse teams, open shells, and porous routines. All of this raise the possibility and the base rate of interesting collisions to happen. Because serendipity loves edges and crossings, we can design for it. Open stacks, unscripted browsing hours, cross-disciplinary lunches, mixed background teams, and rotating seating arrangements. All this helps. You need to have an open, give an opportunity for your mind to be a little bit more open. Low-stakes poster presentations where half-baked ideas are welcomed. Policies that protect time without target. Every one of these increases the chances and the base rate of fruitful collisions to happen. Rooms, rituals, and rhythms can be designed to welcome the unexpected instead of filtering it out. Next one, please. That's preparedness. Preparedness is not encyclopedic knowledge. It is a sparse network of good questions and half-baked schemas. This kind of readiness creates more surfaces for reality to stick to. Read widely, I'd recommend, but also keep a live list of puzzles. Order your curiosity. Preparedness includes the courage to hold an anomaly in view without forcing it back into the old frame. Think of it as a stance of wu-wei, non-forcing, not idleness, but rested attention that lets you think and allows the thing to show itself. Here in Kerala, there is a saying that captures this active attentiveness perfectly. Kanmunnil kandadellam kannu chimmi kalayarudhu. I think that's true. Don't blink and lose what you see right in front of your eyes. Serendipity rewards that kind of generous attention. Can we have a next slide, please? There you go. How creativity happens. Creativity is integration. Divergent processes generate many weakly structured options. Convergent processes, on the other hand, select, test, and refine. The art is in alternating these well, allowing a mess, then making a call, then returning to play, and then returning to your craft. It looks like oscillation, but it feels like a flow. Can we have a next slide, please? A little bit of neuroscience for you. Brain networks. Neuroscience gives us a helpful map. Default mode network, DMN, supports spontaneous, internally generated thought, whereas the executive control network, ECN, it supports goal-directed selection and constraint. The salience network toggles the attention between the two. So breakthroughs happen, or they often arrive, when DMN roams, ECN evaluates, and salience mediates a switch between the two with good timing. That's the knack. Next one, please. So here's the divergence, convergence, and flow. Divergence generate without premature judgment, invite remote associations, and change context and modality. Whereas convergence, it sets constraints, tests against reality, and improves signal to noise. The flow happens when challenge is matched to skill, attention deepens, and self-monitoring quietens just enough to allow absorption without sloppiness. That making sense? Hopefully it is. The next slide, please. So here is dreams, serendipity, and creativity. Put this chain together. Dreams and hypnagogia supply unlikely raw materials, raw combinations. Serendipity is the live moment when one of these combinations is triggered in the world and recognized as meaningful. Creativity is the long workmanship that turns that moment into one with a shareable value. The night, noticing, and the making. Can we have the next slide, please? So again, let's look at a few mini portraits. Consider some of these quickly. Elias Howe, everybody knows, don't you, the story of how he formed the sewing needle, because he had a dream that he was being attacked by the sewing needle with the eye. And that transformed the sewing machine. Paul McCartney, one of your Beatles, they're still very popular, I must say, in Britain. Paul McCartney he wakes up with a melody yesterday, and then he works it out into a finished song. Poincare's bus step insight. It arrives after intense but unfruitful effort. The problem rearranges itself off-duty. The venerable late President APJ Abdul Kalam, former President of India, speaks of dreams that do not let you sleep. I find that a beautiful paradox of vision, disciplining wakeful life. There is a common thread in all of this, which is incubation plus discipline. Can we have the next slide, 18? There you are. I told you at the beginning I'll give you a toolkit, and here is a 12-point toolkit. Compact, practical, one you can adopt for your needs. 1, protect sleep. 2, keep a dream journal. Phrases, images, not just the narratives. Use hypnagogia prose. Short, device-free drift sessions. Switch between modalities. Draw the problem, hum it, sing it, and sketch it. Design for anomaly. Ask, what doesn't fit here? What's the strange thing that happened this week? Practice generous attention to people and to the edges. Keep simple rituals. Go for walks, evening reviews, morning papers, morning pages. All of this will help. Run small experiments with clear feedback. And those of you who are teachers, teach are normally seeking in teams and in classrooms. Track mind matrix, energy, attention, mood, so that you can schedule divergent versus convergent work intelligently. Build ethical reflections into review cycles. That will make a lot of difference, I think. And lastly, in your toolkit, close with community and gratitude. The social surround sustains the work. Build a could be otherwise check. When something neat happens, note at least one rival explanation before you draw your conclusion. Keep a tiny coincidence log separately from your main notebook. Review weekly to spot overinterpretation. That's another big problem. You don't want to become too good psychologists to overinterpret your own feeling. And schedule aimless exploration windows. For that, libraries, galleries, wandering around the campus to counter over-optimized routines. So where dreams culture. Sorry. Dreams are not merely private. Cultures tend to see them differently. In some traditions, they treat dreams as a communal resource, portals for counseling, moral discernment, or even healing. Others treat them as psychological ephemera. A contemporary integrative approach respects both dream content in personally meaningful, neurocognitively useful, and sometimes culturally generative. As we shift from personal insight into public action, let's keep one thought in mind, a guiding principle from this land. I'll say it in Malayalam. നമ്മുടെ ശ്രദ്ധയും കഴിവും സമൂഹത്തിന് ഒരു വരദാനമാകട്ടെ. May your attention and skill become a gift to the community. And speaking in this university particularly, it would be very remiss if I didn't bring in or talk about the Gandhian coda. Can I have the name? Yeah. The Gandhian coda. The Gandhian coda, creativity must be morally formed. Imagination is not neutral. It takes a shape. Simplicity, truthfulness, and service can orient our imagination so that ingenuity does not overrun wisdom. The measure of creative work is not only novelty, but human flourishing. How it enlarges dignity and care. Or, to echo Emmanuel Levinas, my favorite philosopher, the face of the other summons us before any theory does. Creativity serves best when it enlarges dignity, not merely novelty. Next one, please. Let's correct a few myths. Myth 0. Serendipity equals luck. But the reality is, serendipity equals accident plus sagacity. Luck offers a little nudge. Trained attention and a good notebook and the courage to reframe your thoughts will do the rest. Myth 1. Creativity is a rare gift. The reality is, it is a universal human capacity that varies with practice and context. Myth 2. Inspiration replaces perspiration. The reality is, inspiration reduces the search time, and your work, your craft, and will do the rest. Another myth. The more constraints kills creativity. But the reality is the right constraints focus energy and the wrong ones stifle it. So learn to choose well. caution though. Humans are brilliant pattern makers and equally brilliant at seeing pattern where none exists. So, coincidences will cluster almost naturally. And if you have confirmation bias, which is plentiful, that'll do the rest. The remedy is simple. Write first impressions, then test them. Seek disconforming cases. Replicate and invite a colleague to comment who disagrees with you. Very important. Another slide, please. The pedagogy of the unexpected. Education and research can be redesigned for serendipity. Teach students to keep question notebooks. Schedule divergence, convergence blocks. Grade for iteration, not only for answers. Build cross-disciplinary corridors where methods bump into each other. On your timetable, put anomaly rounds. Find the anomalies. What surprised you this week? Make space for the unexpected and it will surely arrive. Can we have one please? The conclusion. Sorry. Let me therefore end where we began. Dreams expand the canvas. Serendipity points to a promising patch. Creativity paints with craft and care. If you adopt only one practice, adopt this rhythm. Sleep well, notice anomalies kindly, and work steadily. If you adopt two, then add ethical orientation to it. Ask not just can we, but ask to what good end. The world is noisy. Attention is a moral act. What we choose to notice, how we choose to make and shape, that will shape the future. That is a list of further reading. Those of you who are interested, I invite you to take a photograph or download. You can have a whole list of references. I'm happy to share a longer list for those of you who are interested. Acknowledgement. The next slide, please, sir. Another one. There you are. I'm enormously grateful to our father, Dr. A.M. George, Dr. Paul Delegate, and the Paulos, Gregorios, and to this university. To each and every one of you, thank you very much for giving up your time to come and listen to such a boring lecture. Thank you to students, conversation partners, and to this university for the tradition that honors both inquiry and service. Let me wish you, may your nights be generous, your days attentive, and your work a gift to others. In Malayalam, once more, നിങ്ങളുടെ രാത്രികൾ ഉദാരമായിരിക്കട്ടെ, നിങ്ങളുടെ പകലുകൾ ശ്രദ്ധാപൂർവമായിരിക്കട്ടെ. നിങ്ങളുടെ പ്രവൃത്തി മറ്റുള്ളവർക്ക് ഒരു സമ്മാനമായി.
The inaugural speech is so now Dr. Sakara is here to give his presentation.
Actually, he was engaged in other meeting, that is why he reached here later. And I invite, on behalf of School of Gandhi and Development Studies, also Paulos Gregorios Chair, and also for School of Behavioral Sciences, to formally inaugurate the function with a few words. Sir, please.
നമുക്ക് ഏറ്റവും പ്രസക്തമായ വിഷയത്തെപ്പറ്റി ആധികാരികമായി സംസാരിച്ച ഡോക്ടർ ജോർജ് സാറ്, മെഡിക്കൽ കോളേജ് പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ വർഗീസ് കുഞ്ഞു സാറ്, ഏറ്റവും ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട രജിസ്ട്രാർ ബിസ്മി ഗോപാലകൃഷ്ണൻ, ഈ പരിപാടിക്ക് ആകെ നേതൃത്വം നൽകുന്ന നൌഷാദ് സാറ്, സദസ്സിലുള്ള അതിലേറെ ബഹുമാന്യരായ വ്യക്തിത്വങ്ങളെ, പൗലോസ് മാർ ഗ്രിഗോരിയോസ് തിരുമേനിയുടെ പേരിലുള്ള നമ്മുടെ യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റിയിലെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ചെയറിന്റെ വൈവിധ്യമാർന്ന പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിൽ ഒന്നാണ് ഇന്നിവിടെ സംഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്. നമുക്കറിയാം, പലപ്പോഴും ചെയറുകൾ പേരായി നിലകൊള്ളുകയും പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ നടക്കാതിരിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ലോകകണ്ട ദിഷണാശാലിയായ ഒരു ആത്മീയ പുരോഹിതൻ അർത്ഥവത്തായ വർത്തമാനങ്ങളും അതിലേറെ സാമൂഹ്യമായ കാഴ്ചപ്പാടോടുകൂടിയുള്ള ഇടപെടൽ നടത്തുന്ന വ്യക്തിത്വമായിരുന്നു ഡോക്ടർ പൗലോസ് മാർ ഗ്രിഗോരിയോസ്. അദ്ദേഹത്തെ പറ്റി ഇന്ത്യ തന്നെ ലോകത്തിന് മുമ്പിൽ കൊടുത്ത മഹത് വ്യക്തിത്വങ്ങൾ, ശ്രീമതി ഇന്ദിരാഗാന്ധി, ഇന്ത്യയുടെ കേരളത്തിന്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ മുഖ്യമന്ത്രി മഹാനായ EM ശങ്കരൻ നമ്പൂതിരിപ്പാട് അടക്കമുള്ളവർ ആഴത്തിൽ അദ്ദേഹത്തെ പറ്റി സംസാരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. KM ജോർജ് അച്ഛൻ അദ്ദേഹത്തെ പറ്റി എഴുതിയ നിരവധി പുസ്തകങ്ങൾ അത്തരത്തിൽ ആ വലിയ വ്യക്തിത്വം ആരായിരുന്നു, ഫ്രാൻസിസ് മാർപ്പാപ്പ കഴിഞ്ഞതിന്റെ മുമ്പത്തെ ക്രിസ്തുമസിൽ ലോകത്തോട് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു ചിന്തയുണ്ട്. അത് ലോകമേറെ ഏറ്റെടുത്തിരുന്നു. സമ്പന്ന സമൂഹത്തോടാണ് അദ്ദേഹം പറഞ്ഞത്. ഗാന്ധിജി ഓർക്കുമ്പോൾ ഗാന്ധിജി പറയുന്നത്, ഒരു പുതിയ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു കാഴ്ചപ്പാട് നിങ്ങളുടെ മുമ്പിലേക്ക് വരുമ്പോൾ, പദ്ധതി നിങ്ങളുടെ മുമ്പിലേക്ക് വരുമ്പോൾ, നിങ്ങളുടെ മുന്നിൽ തെളിഞ്ഞു വരേണ്ടത് നിങ്ങളുടെ നാട്ടിലെ ഏറ്റവും ദുർബലന്റെ മുഖമാണ്. അത് തന്നെയായിരുന്നു പൗലോസ് മാർ ഗ്രിഗോറിയോസ് തിരുമേനിയുടെ ജീവിതവും. കേവലം ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു സമുദായത്തിന്റെ അകത്ത് മാത്രമായിരുന്നില്ല, അവിടുന്ന് പുറത്തു വന്നത് നിന്ദ്യതന്റെയും പീഡിതന്റെയും വഴിയിലൂടെയായിരുന്നു അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ യാത്ര. ഗാന്ധിജിയും പൗലോസ് മാർ ഗ്രിഗോറിയോസ് തിരുമേനിയും തമ്മിൽ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിൽ അത്തരം ഒരു വലിയ ബന്ധമുണ്ടായി. തീർച്ചയായും ഇവിടെ ഇന്ന് എടുക്കപ്പെട്ട ക്ലാസ് ഈ വൈവിധ്യമാർന്ന മറ്റു ചില മേഖലകളുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട മനുഷ്യ ജീവിതത്തിന്റെ വൈവിധ്യത്തിന്റെയും നമ്മുടെ ചിന്തകളുടെ വർത്തമാന കാലഘട്ടത്തിന്റെ വ്യത്യസ്തമായ നിലപാടുകളെ പറ്റിയും ഒക്കെ ജോർജ് സാർ സംസാരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. ഞാനതെല്ലാം കേട്ടില്ല, അവസാന ഭാഗത്താണ് വന്നത്. തീർച്ചയായും അദ്ദേഹത്തെ പോലൊരു വ്യക്തിത്വത്തെ ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് ഈ സംഭാഷണത്തിൽ ലഭിച്ചത് തന്നെ ഏറെ സന്തോഷകരമാണ്. ഞാൻ പൗലോസ് മാർ ഗ്രിഗോറിയോസ് തിരുമേനിയെ പറ്റി പറയാൻ കാരണം, ഇന്ന് മതവും സമുദായങ്ങളും ഒക്കെ കേവലം അവന്റെ ഉള്ളിലേക്ക് ആമ തോടിനുള്ളിലേക്ക് തലയിടുന്നത് പോലെ ഇട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ തകർന്നു പോകുന്ന മതേതര വീക്ഷണങ്ങളുണ്ട്, തകർന്നു പോകുന്ന മാനവികതയുണ്ട്. അതിനെ തിരിച്ചു കൊണ്ടുവരുവാൻ ജന്മങ്ങൾ സമർപ്പിച്ച മഹത്തുക്കളിൽ ഒരാളായിരുന്നു മാർ ഗ്രിഗോറിയോസ് തിരുമേനി എന്നുള്ളത് കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഫ്രാൻസിസ് പിതാവ് ലോകത്തോട് പറഞ്ഞതിനെ പറ്റി ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു. അതോട് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവസാനിപ്പിക്കും. കഴിഞ്ഞതിന്റെ മുമ്പത്തെ ക്രിസ്തുമസിന് ലോകത്തിന് നൽകിയ ക്രിസ്തുമസ് തുടി ഇതായിരുന്നു. ലോകത്തിലെ സമ്പന്നന്മാരായ ക്രിസ്ത്യാനികളോട് അദ്ദേഹം പറഞ്ഞത്, നിങ്ങളുടെ ഗ്ലാസ് മൂടി, നിങ്ങളുടെ തീന്മേശയുടെ മുകളിലിരിക്കുന്ന ഗ്ലാസ് വെള്ളം ഒഴിക്കുമ്പോൾ നിറഞ്ഞ് തുളുമ്പി താഴേക്ക് ഇറ്റിറ്റ് വീഴുമ്പോൾ ആ വെള്ളത്തുള്ളികൾ നക്കിയെടുക്കാൻ ഒരുപാട് ദാഹവും വിശപ്പുമുള്ള പാവപ്പെട്ടവൻ ആ മേശയുടെ താഴെയുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ നിങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്താ? നിങ്ങൾ ആ ഗ്ലാസിന്റെ വലിപ്പം കൂട്ടിക്കൂട്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരിക്കലും വെള്ളം താഴേക്ക് വീഴരുത്. അത് സമ്പന്നന്റെ തെറ്റായ നിലപാടാണ്. അതല്ല ക്രിസ്ത്യാനിറ്റിയുടെ കാതൽ എന്നും പറഞ്ഞ ഫ്രാൻസിസ് പിതാവ് പോയി, ഗ്രിഗോറിയോസ് തിരുമേനിയും പോയി. ഗാന്ധിജി ഓർമ്മകളിൽ പോലും ഇല്ലാതിരിക്കണം എന്ന് അടിവരയിട്ട് ആവർത്തിക്കുന്ന കെട്ടകാലത്ത് ഗാന്ധിജിയെ തിരിച്ചു കൊണ്ടുവരേണ്ട ഒരു നന്മ നിറഞ്ഞ ചിന്തയുടെ ആണ് ഇവിടെ ഗാന്ധിയെ തൊട്ടിലടക്കം പങ്കുവെക്കുന്നത്. അതിന് ഈ മഹത്തരമായ ചെയർ കൂടി പങ്കാളികാർന്നത് ഏറ്റവും സന്തോഷകരമാണ്. വൈകിപ്പോയത് ക്ഷമിക്കണം. ക്ഷമ എന്ന രണ്ടക്ഷരമില്ലെങ്കിൽ വലിയ കുഴപ്പമായിരുന്നു. നിങ്ങളെ പോലുള്ള ബഹുമാനരായ വ്യക്തിത്വങ്ങളെ ഇരുത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് വൈകി വന്ന് ഒത്തിരി വർത്തമാനം പറയുന്നത് ശരിയല്ല എന്ന് എനിക്കറിയാം. നിങ്ങൾ എവരുടെയും അനുവാദത്തോടെ ഈ മഹത്തരമായ ചടങ്ങ് ഉദ്ഘാടനം ചെയ്തായി നയിക്കുന്നു.
Now this is time for interactions, and also audience can ask their doubts, clarification to the source person. We have our Dr. Varghese sir. There is also for secretary. Yeah.
So, good morning or good afternoon. I should say. In fact, I cannot to leave. Anyway, and anyway, very pleasant experience for me. When I circulated this particular brochure in my department and in the so in fact many people wanted to come over here to listen, but unfortunately the timings in the medical was the peak time during, so they were all feeling very sad about this thing. But I think you is YouTube, you will be posting it to the YouTube. It's available, so that is one way. Second thing, of course, I don't want to go into the subject, but so one of my previous students, Dr. Diana, she's here. She's working actually in UK as a psychiatrist. When we were traveling, we were just talking about this topic. Psychiatry mental health training in the dreams, this kind of the kind of ideas he mentioned, the serendipity, creativity. Unfortunately, these are all falling in the margins. ഒരു ഡ്രീമിനെ പറ്റി ഒരു ക്ലയന്റിനോട് ഒരു പേഷ്യന്റിനോട് ഹിസ്റ്ററി എടുക്കുമ്പോഴത്തേന് നമ്മൾ ചോദിക്കാറില്ല. Maybe the only condition where dream become one of the criteria in psychiatric diagnosis, maybe post-traumatic stress disorder, where nightmares come as one of the diagnostic criteria. അല്ലാതെ നമ്മുടെ ഹ്യൂമൻ കോൺഷ്യസ്നെസ്സിന്റെ ഒരു വലിയ ഒരു ഭാഗം നമ്മൾ ഇഗ്നോർ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് the scientific disciplines like psychiatry or psychology. Anyway, Dr. John's talk was very illuminating. Look at the way he, in a very seamless way, cutting across the psychoanalytical concept of dreams, serendipity, creativity, connecting it with neuroscience. Brilliant, I should say it is brilliant, which is personal with all people. കുറച്ചുകൂടെ ഇതിന്റെ ഡിസ്കഷനിൽ പാർട്ടാവണമെന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, പക്ഷെ ഫോർ കമ്പലിംഗ് റീസൺസ് എനിക്ക് പോകണം. ബട്ട് ഐ നീഡ് ടു കണക്ട് ടു ഡോക്ടർ. You should be coming over to my institution to talk to our medical professionals as well. Thank you very much.
Sorry,
the Doctor of the City came, Advocate Secretary is now give a gift from us to Dr. Gregorios. The new book we published for the International Conference, The Carbon Paradox, for the young scientist in 1998, and then the autobiography, partial autobiography of Paulos and Gregorios, Love's Freedom, The Grand Mystery, again published by the chair. We have published several things. Now these two books will be given as a gift of gratitude by the Religious Secretary to Dr. Gregorios.
മറ്റ് തീയോ ഒന്നും മേടിക്കുകയില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പുസ്തകത്തോളം വലിയ സമ്പത്ത് മറ്റൊന്നുമില്ല. പുസ്തകത്തെ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്ന ആളുകൾക്ക്, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ജോർജ് സാറിനെ പോലെയുള്ള ആ വലിയ മനസ്സ് ഈ സമയത്ത് ഇത്രയും വിലപ്പെട്ട സമയം നിരക്കെടുത്തിയെന്ന് തന്നെ പറയാം. ഇവിടെ എത്തുമ്പോൾ അത് അർത്ഥവത്താണ്, സമ്പുഷ്ടമാണ്, സന്തോഷകരമാണ്. സാറിനെ ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി നന്ദിയോടെ ഓർത്തുകൊണ്ട് ഈ പുസ്തകം സമ്മാനിക്കുന്നു.
We have a partner in the School of Behavioral Sciences, so we have a representative. I think we have some more time for discussion. An experience I'm going to share with you, an experience. Dr. Gregorios പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യങ്ങളിലെ ഈ ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റുകൾക്കും ക്രിയേറ്റീവ് റൈറ്റേഴ്സിനും ഒത്തിരി എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. As a modest artist, I just show you a painting. I'm the painter, but I can't explain what it is. It appeared to me in a dream. And then, as I got up, immediately I took my brush and canvas and painted it. Because, as he said, if I had delayed it, then it would be lost. And I am puzzled by this painting. Why it appeared to me in my dream? Anyway, this is it. There is some sort of symmetry here. Well, I don't want to explain that. This is a new painting.
Yeah.
Also. Some of you know the famous wildlife photographer in an Nasir. He's a close friend of mine. Some months ago, he took a photograph of the great Indian hornbill. അതായത് മലമുഴക്കി വേഴാമ്പൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് പടമുണ്ട്. മാതൃഭൂമിയിൽ അവർ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്തു. ആ പടം കണ്ടപ്പോഴേ എനിക്ക് തോന്നി അതൊന്ന് പെയിന്റ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് തോന്നി. പക്ഷെ സമയം കിട്ടിയില്ല, ഒന്നും ചെയ്തില്ല. But the other day he convened a meeting of his friends. Then I thought this would be an occasion for me to paint it and guide it. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കാത്ത ഒരു സംഗതി വന്നു. ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റ് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവുമായിരുന്നു. ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചിട്ടില്ല ഒരു സംഗതി ഇല്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് ചെറുപ്പക്കാർക്ക് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് മനസ്സിലാവുമായിരിക്കും. നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടോ? Okay. There's a heart symbol, which when I started painting it, I had no idea. I didn't want to do it. But then it appeared. When I finished the painting, it appeared. This is again the serendipity. Okay. So thank you. The floor is open.
Now you can ask questions, doubts, clarifications, or
He taught chemistry, most of us, including Professor Paulos.
No questions, because so clear, one cannot express it. Very, very grateful for enriching us with the precious gems of thoughts, which will definitely inspire us to initiate, start, or continue a very meaningful and purpose-driven life. I just want to underline several times one of your final concluding Malayalam words. നിങ്ങളുടെ പ്രവൃത്തി മറ്റുള്ളവർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയാകട്ടെ. You let your deeds be for the sake of others. Concern for others is the heart of spirituality. That's what you emphasize. What else do we need for a meaningful life? Very grateful for inspiring that wonderful thought, which converges the quintessence of the thoughts of Gandhi, Gregorios, and all great people who love other people. That is the crux of it. That's what I collected as most precious among the several precious gems of thoughts you spared, inspired, enriched. Thank you. God bless you.
I'm enormously grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
In the absence of others, I would like to appreciate, along with all of you, the wonderful lecture Dr. John delivered here. I am deeply delighted to be here among this audience. In fact, I had the privilege of traveling all the way from Ernakulam to Kottayam, this university, in the name of great Mahatma Gandhi ji. And in fact, I have only two questions, simple questions. One is perception. The process of perception has it got anything to do with our dreams, our serendipity and creativity? Then the other concept is, I think it is also related in some way or other. That is the collective unconscious, which is a wonderful storehouse of knowledge and experience of the entire humanity, developed by Carl Jung. Please comment on that. Before that, let me thank Dr. Naushad, Father George, and others who extended to all of us great hospitality. And I had got a chance to present him with my humble simple translation of Talisman of Mahatma Gandhi about Lady Zachariah and Father George and Dr. John and others spoke, including the Gandhi's Coda Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. It is really nice to be here. It is one of the best mornings in my whole life. Thank you.
You're very, very exaggerated, and I feel terribly flattered. Thank you. You asked about a question, but I was going to say, does spontaneous creativity, does that ever happen? That is something that firstly, you asked about perception. This spontaneously, does that happen? My view is that, having looked at it in some detail, creativity can happen both deliberately and spontaneously. So, the perception, how you see it, how you view it, is related to how you experience it. This has been studied and acknowledged that at least 2 different pathways and processes exist in the brain for each type. Neural connections and processes may differ. We do not know everything yet, but it would appear that these processes can be concurrent, although they are dual processes. So we have both. I'd suggest that these processes are subconscious as well as conscious. I don't know whether that goes some way to answering what you had asked. I want to ask a question to all of you who might give me some of the answers. You see, I talked about Salvador Dali in my talk. Now, has creativity anything to do with artificially stimulated brains? For instance, psychedelic drugs. Does that make you more creative? In my view, nobody had asked the question. I had expected somebody might ask, but I'll discuss it anyway. Thank you. Thank you. Creativity is an essential cognitive ability. It is linked to all areas of our everyday functioning. Thus, finding a way to enhance it, to broaden it. A large part of anecdotal reports suggest that the consumption of psychedelic drugs can enhance creative thinking. However, when I searched, I found scientific evidence lacking. Following a double-blind trial and placebo-controlled, parallel group-designed study, it was able to demonstrate that psilocybin, 0.17 milligrams per kilogram body weight, induced a time and construct-related differentiation of the effect on creative thinking. That's the research evidence. Acutely, psilocybin increased ratings of spontaneous creative insights, while decreasing, that is deliberate, task-based creativity. 7 days after taking psilocybin, the number of novel ideas increased. Furthermore, we utilized an ultra-high field multimodal brain imaging approach and found that acute persisting effects were predicted by within, say, between networks interconnectivity by default mode network didn't happen. So, what does that tell you? I don't know. Findings add some support to the historical claim that psychedelics can influence aspects of creative process while potentially indicating them as a tool to investigative creativity and subsequent underlying neural mechanisms. I am quoting a particular trial. It is trial NL6007. Psilocybin as a tool for enhanced cognitive flexibility. I can give you a reference you can look up. So, yes, it looks as if it does something, but actual hard scientific evidence is lacking.
Any more questions or comments?
I am just a student of economics.
From Canada School of Economics.
So there is a new trend in economic science integrating economics with psychology. Some of the Nobel laureates in economics recently got those who are from psychology too. So and now we have the fashion to like neuroeconomics, behavioral economics and the like. So my simple question to you, so how you as a basic scientist in psychology, how your spirit would be shared with humble people like us who are so how as an interdisciplinary way of your basic subject should reach us. So what will be the trajectory of that?
That's very hard.
I don't know. You're very generous. I really don't know what. I suppose personally for me, it comes down to personal experiences in life. I've never worked in this country. I had my basic graduation. All my academic and practical work was done in London. And I ran eventually for several years a very successful practice. And then over time my wife became very seriously unwell. She suffers from advanced Parkinson's disease, which will never get better, it'll only get worse. And part of the reason why we relocated from London to live in Kochi is because of that. So, I'm sorry. I'm busy. So, I gave up everything. I thought, how will we live? It'll only get... So, I had no difficulty from the fast lane of life into the tropical warmth of living in Kochi, and with nothing to do. So I'm a writer. I take up writing, and so how do you translate? I just interested into how everybody lives. I'm just part of everybody. I don't find it difficult to convey ideas, but I think as long as the ideas you're conveying are clear, people find messaging difficult if you're saying too many different things. So, your specialty is psychology has contributed so much to mankind and explained so many things, and I thank you for all that. Thank
you. It's almost 1 o'clock. That's why we need to wind up the session. We are very much thankful to you for opening up a new area to us. And we social scientists actually want to go beyond something our traditional matter of subject. And we're lucky to get such a wonderful person with a different topic today. Thank you.
Just a word. I have already mentioned the speech of Paulos Gregorios at the American Psychiatric Association, how do we psychoanalyze our societies and religions. Because the Freudian psychoanalysis was mainly concerned about the individual, but now he has extended it to psychoanalyzing societies and religions, which is a very bold step. So students from the School of Behavioral Sciences might be interested. I have a few copies. We have published it here. And then there are other things also. He has done a lot of studies on consciousness, because he is a very close friend of the Dalai Lama. And Dalai Lama, of course, is sought after as the person who can talk authoritatively on human consciousness. He gave 2 lectures at Sri Venkateshwara University, where he was invited by the then Vice Chancellor, a well-known person, Dr. Satyamurthy. So we have published that lecture also here. These are available with the office of the Paulos Gregorios chair here at the ground floor. So if people want to come and fetch some of these things, you are most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for the information. Now I invite Dr. Boban Joseph, Assistant Professor, School of Behavioral Sciences, to deliver vote of thanks.
I am expressing my gratitude to School of Gandhi and Development Studies, as well as the School of Behavioral Sciences, to give this opportunity to give the vote of thanks on the wonderful occasion of a lecture given by Dr. George John. First of all, I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor in his absence, though he arranged Dr. Visli Kovalishna, respected registrar for this program, and delivering a wonderful speech. Next, I would like to thank Dr. George John. We enjoyed the lecture on treat serendipity and creativity. He intertwined aspects of the topic with different aspects, unlocked to the audiences in a more digestible fashion. The lecture presented the opportunity to every participant with gainful insights and take-home messages. Thank you, sir, for giving a wonderful lecture. Next, I would like to thank Advocate G. Sakriya sir for giving us his presence, as well as inspiring us with these wonderful words. Thank you, sir, for coming here and giving this wonderful speech. We have a different special guest here, those who participated in this wonderful program. I thank each one of you for being part of this program. Thank you. Next, we have a chair professor, Father Dr. K. George. Professors from the host organization, Dr. Vinod Kumar sir, who is not here, and Dr. Naushad P.P. Thank you for organizing such a wonderful program. And I am not extending my speech. I thank all the participants, organizers, faculties, and students who participate in this wonderful program. Thank you.
Tea is arranged outside the hall. Tea is arranged